Upset forecast for week 6 of the college football season. The way that we do this now, we're not calling our shot. We're just saying, hey, if you were to be making plans and you were looking at your forecast, this is how you should make your plans going forward with the forecast. All right. So you're saying, hey, I was going to go ahead and lock in Ohio State minus 20. Should I lock that in? The forecast says maybe just give that a little bit extra thought. And that's where I want to start here on the upset forecast for week 6. You got Maryland going to Columbus, Ohio. Now, to be very real, Maryland has not played well in the shoe. Let's keep it a buck here. Like they haven't done so great when they've gone to Ohio State. But when you look at what this game presents, I think we're going to get this secondary tested for the first time for Ohio State, and that was kind of an issue for them last season by nature of what they did going to the transfer portal and acquiring some key pieces there. Maryland now has a passing game that I think can really potentially expose that if they're not up to par or as improved as I think a lot of us think they are. They're throwing for over 300 yards a game. Talia Tagovailoa is a dude, and they're scoring 39 points a game. So what I'm saying is this offense has a chance now to really test Ohio State's engine offensively in the sense that I think they could score some points. And if you score points and force Ohio State to start scoring some points, we've seen Ohio State really explode offensively one time this season. That was against Western Kentucky. Can they do it against Maryland? Ohio State coming off the bye. They had the last-second win against Notre Dame the week before. Like, how much is our eye on the ball if we're Ohio State? We're going to give out our best bets on my Instagram page at JD Pickell. Not to toot our own horn or to jinx us, but we have been rolling right now. If you've been tailing us over there with the Against the Suits that we've got going on over there. We don't talk about it on the show too much, but just keep an eye. Would not be surprised if this one popped up as a best bet with Maryland plus 19.5. But again, just kind of keep that on the radar. It's on the forecast. We think Maryland is a team to watch to, at the very least, make that game sneaky. We're not predicting the upset. We're just saying that's one to keep an eye on. Another 3-touchdown spread to take a look at here. You got Arizona going to USC. And if Arizona has a healthy Jayden de Laura, this game could get very interesting. Jayden de Laura, dual-threat quarterback, probably one of the best quarterbacks on the West Coast that doesn't get talked about enough because you got Bo Nix, you got Michael Penix, you got Caleb Williams, you got Cam Ward. But dude can play some football now, can give you trouble. We say it all the time, probably every single week in this segment. If you got a quarterback, you got a chance. And if he's healthy and able to go in this game, that changes the complexion of what USC could have to do defensively. USC's got real issues defensively. Like, let's just call a spade here. They got problems up front if you're USC. You got problems in the back end if you're USC. I think the personnel is better up front than it has been previously, but they have not played like it. So what I'm trying to say is I think Arizona can score. And we saw Arizona, even without Jayden de Laura, really push Washington a little bit last week. They limited possessions. And if they play that kind of style again where they kind of limit the bullets for USC offensively, do not be surprised if in the fourth quarter you're checking scores and you see this one close. All right, real look-ahead spot as well for USC as they go to South Bend, Indiana next week and play Notre Dame. That'll be a big-time matchup. I'm sure that has a ton of USC's attention all offseason. But this game for Arizona is going to be essentially their Super Bowl. Like, they're going to give USC their best shot. So do not be surprised if there is some upset vibes coming out of that one early in the game. Again, not saying USC doesn't still win that game. I think they do, but I do think Arizona, with that 21.5, with the way that they played against Washington last week, if they get Jayden de Laura, things could get interesting. We'll leave it at that. Georgia Tech at Miami. Big look-ahead spot for Miami. They're at North Carolina next week. North Carolina, obviously a ranked football team. And Georgia Tech, man, just a horrible loss the week before against Bowling Green. You wonder if they're not backed into a corner just a little bit. And when you're backed into a corner, that's a dangerous situation. Anytime an animal's backed into a corner, what do? They bite, they attack, they scratch, they claw to get out of that corner. When they feel threatened, they give you their best effort. I think that's where Georgia Tech is right now. And to be real, man, Haynes King, when he was at Texas A&M, he wasn't great. Right now, he's balling. 15 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He's been playing really well. The defense for Georgia Tech is abysmal. They're allowing 35 points a game. They're very, very bad. But if there's a little bit of, like I said, that look-ahead spot, that sleepwalking element from Miami, talk a lot about the lack of a home field advantage that Miami gets when they play in Coral Gables. It kind of is what it is. You wonder if they don't bring their A game and Haynes King kind of gets rolling and maybe, just maybe, Georgia Tech finds a way to sneak up on them. I think you should keep an eye on this game as well. It's on the upset forecast. And again, the look-ahead spot for Miami really makes that one for me the most tricky. Oregon State is at Cal. Oregon State, huge letdown spot for them potentially. They had a big Friday night win against Utah. To me, it felt like Oregon State out-Utah'd Utah. The defense played great. DJ Uiagalelei looks revitalized. Like the team itself is built in such a way where they play with a really low margin for error, and they don't make a lot of mistakes. They kind of force you to hand them the game in a lot of ways. Cal has an offense that is a little bit peculiar when you look at them statistically. They're top 30 in the country in terms of yards per game, but they're 74% scoring in the red zone. Y'all, that's not good. If you're going inside the 20 and only getting points 3 out of 4 times, like that factors in field goal kicking as well. So you wonder if in this homecoming spot for Oregon State, for Cal rather, as Oregon State comes in for homecoming, if that running game of Cal is able to roll a little bit against this good Oregon State rush defense, maybe we see an inspired Cal football team. They're running for over 200 yards a game. Again, if Oregon State is groggy from that week before, reading the press clippings a little bit, having to get back on the schedule of playing on a Saturday, keep an eye on this one. That's kind of what we said for all these games. Keep an eye on it, but that's exactly what you do when you have a forecast. You keep an eye on it, kind of take inventory, and just curious how that thing will play, because I think Cal is a lot better than what their record shows, and they could give them issues if Oregon State doesn't bring it up front. Now, this is kind of an honorable mention, Kentucky at Georgia. We already picked this one, but I don't know if it's really an upset. I just want to mention it because I think the spread tells us we should talk about it, because it's a 14.5-point spread favoring Georgia. If Kentucky beats Georgia, I don't think it's an upset. If Kentucky beats Georgia, it's surprising. It would be shocking. I think it'd be unforeseen by a lot of people, but Kentucky's a ranked football team. Kentucky beating Georgia would just be a really big win for Kentucky. It'd be shocking, like I said, in every sense. I'm not saying it wouldn't be surprising, but upset feels a little bit disrespectful to how Kentucky's playing right now, to how they played last week against Florida, and quite frankly, to how Georgia's played so far. Like, Georgia isn't the 2022 version we saw last year. It's a new football team. So I think that's still a game to watch. I think Georgia wins that game, but still, I don't put the upset label on it. Just wanted to make sure we addressed it during this whole upset forecast segment. So those are the games we're watching this weekend. Those are the games that you should watch this weekend, and we'll have an absolute blast doing it. I want to tell y'all about Rhoback, because Rhoback is what's bringing y'all the hard count today. And Rhoback is a company that has been with the hard count before the hard count actually even got to On3. Rhoback has been rolling with us, so we appreciate them, one, for just being a day one kind of operation in that sense. Two, good people that operate that company. Three, they get us. Like a lot of these companies that you see sponsoring different college football shows, like they're throwing money at it because it works and because it gets their brand out there. Like Rhoback, if you look at their product, it's built for us on college football Saturdays. They got a phenomenal selection of polos to where it's like moisture wicking, it's got good flex to it, and you can wear it at a tailgate all day long. Like you don't have to go and wear that tailgate polo for like the first couple hours and then change before the game because it's sweaty, it's not comfortable anymore, it's like just not feeling good or smelling good. Like that's not the Rhoback polos, all right? So that's one. Two, they've got some great shorts that work for the tailgate scene as well. Three, they've come out with these performance crews. It's crispy fall season right now. I would encourage you to get on the action there. So if you redeem code JD, you get a generous 20% off your first purchase at checkout. So go to rhoback.com. That's RHOBACK.com. With the dog icon, they'll take care of you. Again, redeem code JD for 20% off your first purchase. Rhoback, they're for the people. They're by the people. They're bringing y'all the hard count. And we appreciate them rolling with us and bringing the show to y'all. So we appreciate Rhoback and we appreciate y'all. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.